welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here to the start of this week's Fan Fridays, and let the fun begin with someone bold enough to bring out the Shiinotic. And it looks like the opponent is trying out a VGC team. Now, unfortunately, the Malamar is not VGC legal, so this isn't VGC team. We're going to see how it stacks up to the current meta right now. And it looks like it's pretty obvious what's going to happen. Oh my goodness, actually, like, Strength Sap next to Contrary sounds pretty crazy, because Shiinotic just heals more and more, and then it heals some more, and then it also, don't forget that it'll heal more as well. So Malamar seems like the best, is it the best physical option for that? Because I'm like, oh wait, Superior is going to be special, and then we also have the other stuff going on. That's going to be a switch into the Oranguru instead of the Shiinotic right now, as Pelipper goes and sets up the Tailwind. So what is the Malamar going to take from this? Muk throws out a Poison Jab, and yeah, that's why you have to switch out the Shiinotic. 4 times special, or 4 times super effective hit on that Poison. Not really fun, but it is Malamar with the Trick Room. So, does at least get that to work for it, and then Oranguru going to protect this turn. So, just in case there's like some shenanigans and focus from the opponent, that's going to let Malamar set up the superpower, gaining attack and defense, while trying to do a little bit of damage to the Muk. Muk, just a tanky Pokemon. But the knockoff will be protected, and Pelipper goes for the Hurricane. The Hurricane will land onto the Malamar. That's some significant damage right there, but we will see it is going to be the Citrus Berry. Yeah, Malamar seems like Pokemon that would work with a Confusion Berry, but as you can see, there's too many hits in that middle range that just do not allow the Confusion Berry to work. But the Oranguru with the Instruct has other plans right now, so instructing the superpower, okay. Contrary Instruct sounds pretty good about now. So that's going to be Instruct on the superpower, gaining attack and defense. And then Malamar has the knockoff. So +2 into transition switch onto the Pelipper and knocking down the Focus Sash. Well, proccing the Focus Sash and then trying to knock it off. Knockoff will be super effective onto the Oranguru and will make it faint though. But Oranguru's +2 attack, +2 on the defense, and Hurricane from Pelipper. That's going to be a lot of damage. And is it enough to take down Malamar? Yes, it is. So, unfortunately getting stopped right there through a mean setup, but the special from Pelipper proving to be just a little too much. And because of Trick Room, we can't run the Assault Vest, so that's a little bit of a shame right there. But Shiinotic's in. And Lurantis is Contrary. Right, okay. So, double Contrary for the Shiinotic under Trick Room. I'm down with that. Forces out the Pelipper, and Tapu Koko comes in now. Of course, Shiny Tapu Koko. That's all we're going to see from now on, guys. And Electric Surge doesn't really change much right now, but Shiinotic has the Strength Sap, and that's going to boost Lurantis on the attack, and then go for the Petal Blizzard. So hitting everyone, big damage to the Tapu Koko, Muk getting chunked as well, and Shiinotic resisting it. So that's an interesting call on the Petal Blizzard. But I guess it works, because your Strength Sap heal, then take a lot, but the opponent's already dead, so GG. That turnaround. That turnaround's pretty ridiculous. And then we're going to see what happens with Tapu Koko with the Protect. Going to try to stall it out this turn. And then we're going to see the Shiinotic with the Strength Sap. So yeah, going to boost Lurantis' attack and then heal itself back up to full. Like, that's a full heal no matter what every time. And under Trick Room, I guess it doesn't matter. You just have the numbers down. So Shiinotic survives. Then Shiinotic survives again. And then the damage is massive. Alright, so Life Orb on the Lurantis is also kind of interesting. Rain is going to stop right there. We're also going to see the leftovers on the Shiinotic for a little bit of healing right there. And then the Twisted Dimensions return to normal. So, the opponent had the good idea with like trying to stall it out on that Tapu Koko. But now we're going to see what happens with this situation. Ooh, Tapu Koko with the Hidden Power. Hidden Power, yeah. Something tells me that is 100% had. We have this shiny Hidden Power Ice Tapu Koko event. I'm calling shenanigans on that one. Shiinotic will go down. Unfortunately, though, Poison Jab just a little too much. And then we're going to see Lurantis with that Petal Blizzard, though. But +2 onto the Garchomp from that Petal Blizzard will be enough to take it down. And that is going to be a narrow victory. So a little close right there, but the opponent did have a pretty strong team and was using some hatch Pokemon as well. So gotta give credit to Adam. It was just unfavorable for the Malamar, but I feel if Malamar gets rolling, then it could get even scarier. So let's get into the next battle for this Fan Fridays. Alright, so that last battle just kind of happened. Now let's go into this battle and see if we get anything different. I really didn't get a chance to break down everything that was going on, but it's also like pretty self-explanatory that sap or strength sap, what's going to do is it's going to make the target lose 1 on its attack, and then it's going to heal you for the amount drained, which is really broken. Like, if Shiinotic had more defenses and wasn't 4 times weak to the poison, it could be a terrifying Pokemon. Like, strength sap, one of the best moves in all of Pokemon. It's just not on the right Pokemon with the Shiinotic. But however, when you pair that with a contrary ally, it's not something that you would expect. You know, you want to drain the opponent's attack, so doing less damage to you, and then you're weakening their, like, sweeping Pokemon, while you're also healing up for a pretty high amount of health. Even at -1, you're still getting major amounts of healing off of the opponent if they're a physical attacker, so it's really not that bad. Like, it's not counterintuitive, you're not getting any kind of reduced healing. It's like, by the 3rd Strength Sap, it starts to matter, but then the opponent's not doing any damage, so you're doing less while you're healing less, but you're still healing more than Synthesis. It's pretty crazy. However, transitioning that over to your ally is where things start to get wild, because yeah, the contrary on the Lurantis, under Trick Room, pretty nasty. If Malamar gets that Trick Room set up, even nastier. Like, look at that, Shiinotic was able to stay on the field this time, so that means Malamar goes +1 into its first superpower, and now it's at +2 for the next superpower, and I guess the idea is that Shiinotic is frail, so it just dies. So, actually, I wonder if that means Shiinotic should have had Protect. Like, Protect on that first turn, you know, absorb the Poison Jab from the Muck with that Protect, then you do your contrary stuff, then you have the Superpower land, then you get Shiinotic one-shot, that's when you bring in the Oranguru to Instruct, and then you get more snowballing on the Malamar. I like that if Shiinotic goes down, your backup is, oh, I'm gonna Instruct, and it works out pretty well. So, Glasgow going to protect it up this turn, as you do. But I don't know if that's going to matter. Oh, Shiinotic has a Spore. Yo, I like it. That's dirty because Shiinotic also one of the very few Spore Pokemon. So getting some extra tankiness in there. Earthquake. Not going to do much damage to the Malamar or the Shiinotic. Shiinotic's going to resist it. And Malamar has that defense boost from the superpower. And then that's a one-shot onto the Crabominable. I mean, it's just a super effective superpower. Not many Pokemon are going to be able to survive that. So Crabominable's going down. And then, yeah, like, I didn't even consider the Spore because, oh, you just Strength Sap forever, and then you also heal while Strength Sapping. Like, no matter what, Shiinotic's going to grab full health off of that Malamar at this point, which is pretty ridiculous. And then it buffs it up even more. So Tapu Lele's in. Trick Room's still up. I don't really see too much of a threat, so yeah, what you do is just Spore Tapu Lele. That way you keep that, the damage off of the Malamar. And you're going to be good to go. So Shiinotic's going to restore those hit points. Malamar is going to throw down the knockoff. Or you just knock off one-shot the Tapu Lele. You're free to kind of do whatever with this. If you need healing, you go and just Strength Sap your ally. Glasgore's trying its best to Toxic Stall. I mean, it's building up on the Shiinotic, but Shiinotic's back up to full health. Like, Shiinotic could be one of those rare instances where a Pokemon goes to full health while poisoned and then gets knocked out while in full health. That'd be one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. But I don't think that there's going to be much more for this Glasgow. That's going to be the Spore, locking down the Glasgow, and then knockoff. That's just going to be one-hit KO shenanigans right there. Ooh, wow, that Glasgow, tanky. Like, we know Glasgow can be a pretty tanky Pokemon. My goodness, surviving the knockoff off of Malamar is pretty good. I'll give it that. So that's going to be Shiinotic hurt by the poison. That's going to be Malamar getting hurt by the poison. Glasgow is asleep, though, so not going to be able to protect. Twisted Dimensions return to normal anyways. And then we're going to see just the finish off right here. What else does Shiinotic have? And Malamar just throws down the Psycho Cut for the most damage. And critical hit happens. Glasgow goes down. And that is going to be the official GG. So yeah, a little bit of extra tech. The Spore under Trick Room also just absolutely nasty, and it works. Like, sometimes if you have to set up a Trick Room Pokemon to get a Spore Pokemon in, you're kind of relying a lot on the Spore, but at least Shiinotic can do other things besides Spore. So let's go and try out one more. A quick look at Sebastian's team, and like people are bringing like VGC team onto the free battle spot, and Adam's team is VGC legal if it wasn't for the Malamar. So just kind of interesting stuff overall, but it looks like Trick Room, you know, you fake out on the Hariyama, you go Porygon 2 Trick Room, and then shenanigans happen under that Trick Room. That's gonna be like Trick Room, counter Trick Room, Trick Room to the Trick Room. Who's going to want it more? It feels like Malamar with that superpower might just try to go for it. Unfortunately, Shiinotic is slower, so until the Trick Room happens, Malamar's just going to be going off of its own superpower damage. Porygon 2 going to boost its special attack. It really wants that out of the download. Hariyama with the fake out decides to target Shiinotic. Guess doesn't want to worry about Spore. Oh, except the effect Spore makes Hariyama go to sleep anyways. That's some cheese. And then Malamar with the superpower going to hit the Porygon 2. Not a lot of damage to begin with. And yeah, I don't know if the opponent understands Trick Room, but no, throws down the Thunderbolt anyways onto the Malamar. Malamar not a water type. Shiinotic's going to flinch off of that fake out. And that's the turn. So yeah, we can actually see the fastest Pokemon on the field. So the opponent has a slower Trick Room, and the Malamar just kind of chugging along right now. So superpower onto the Porygon 2. That will not be enough to take it down, even after the contrary boost. And Porygon 2 actually gambles on the Toxic. So it looks like just no one taking the Trick Room in this situation. But Shiinotic Toxic once again. And we're going to see if Shiinotic goes for something different right now. Actually, a Moonblast. So it does have the offensive option for damaging the Hariyama. Actually, a super effective hit into a KO range. So it looks like the next turn is going to be very bad for the opponent right there. That all you have to do is Moonblast Hariyama. Doesn't really matter. Ooh, the Bullet Punch though. That's going to be a filthy Bullet Punch if Hariyama wakes up into that. And Porygon 2 is just dead anyways because it gets outspeed, out superpowered, and then the Snowball is real. Fancy. Okay. That's really all we gotta say. It's like, oh, that's kind of a thing. Hariyama wakes up, but goes for the knockoff. Knockoff on the Shiinotic will be resisted because that fairy typing. Leftovers kind of annoying, but that's going to be the Moonblast and just field wipe for the opponent. Doesn't have much to deal with right now. Okay. But Malamar is at insane levels right now. And we know that Alolan Exeggutor favors being physical, and Verlisify is physical. So with all that defense boosting, I don't think anything can get through the Malamar right now. And that's going to be the Exeggutor. So Frisk finds the Citrus Berry. I mean, that's really all that Malamar has to work with right now. Verlisify with a... Ooh! First impression, 4 times super effective, will still be enough to take down the Malamar. Never mind what I said about the defense boosts. Ooh, that's different though. Actually targeting the opponent on that Strength Sap, going all the way back up to full hit points. Now making it to where Verlisify has less to run with, and then Trick Room will be set by the Exeggutor anyways. Who's slower? I know Lurantis is kind of slow and surprisingly bulky, but I think nothing will underspeed the Exeggutor in this situation. But Shiinotic has a Spore, so Shiinotic actually turning that Trick Room around, getting the Spore onto the Verlisify, and then Lurantis has the X-Scissor, so that's going to go for big damage onto Exeggutor. Super effective, will not be enough to take it down, but at least you're like shutting down the Verlisify. Like you could have just gone this Strength Sap and then go for it, but that's fine. Draco Meteor though, almost having enough from the Exeggutor to take it down. We're going to see the special attack drop, but White Herb Trick Room on the Exeggutor, actually looking pretty powerful right there. Did the opponent have a Z move though? Like, I'd rather go Z Draco Meteor than White Herb Draco Meteor. Z Draco Meteor is just more damage for effectively the same effect. So that's going to be the Strength Sap on top of the X-Scissor. Exeggutor will go down right there. And Shiinotic back at full health. Verlisify is asleep. Lurantis takes a bit from that Life Orb. Actually, Verlisify will wake up. Get the Clutch Wake Up into the Leech Life. That's going to be enough to hurt the Lurantis. Alright, this is... Okay, so this is why we have a damaging move on the Shiinotic. That if you just had all defensive or all status or all setup, that's going to be something. But, never mind, it's also a Oranguru. I thought that was it. But, I forgot about the Oranguru, because last time we saw Lurantis kind of be the last Pokemon revealed. So, back into the Spore, while Trick Room is still up, so that's kind of filthy right there. And, how's this one going to work out? Are you going to, like, double Strength Sap just to make sure the Verlisify will do nothing ever? Because that's something that you could absolutely do. Just Strength Sap, Strength Sap, and that would put Shiinotic at full health even after all the drops, just in case. I want to see that. I really want to see the double Strength Sap. So the Golisopod's attack will fall. And see, even at -1, Golisopod gets the full heal. People say that String Sap's a bad move. Nah, it's actually a very good move. So that's going to be the instruct for another drain right there. And it pretty much just means that Golisopod's not going to do any damage ever. Still has super effective potential onto the Oranguru. And we saw the knockoff, so it has the Wiki Berry. Twisted Dimensions will return to normal. Is Oranguru going to go for it again? Golisopod wakes up, goes for the Leech Life. Leech Life targeting Oranguru. And at -3, even with the super effective hit, alright, doing somewhere around a 4th. We'll get the heal, and Shiinotic just spamming Strength Sap forever. So that's going to be another attack drop, and Shiinotic still getting half its health after a -3 Oranguru resetting Trick Room. Yeah, see, that's the thing, like, it's the attack stat. The attack stat is going to still be pretty high regardless. Ooh, that's pretty bad, though. The amount of poison healing. Shiinotic has Moonblast, though. So Moonblast onto Golisopod, getting a little bit of damage in there. Critical hit. Golisopod with the Leech Life, going to target the Shiinotic now. I guess trying to fish for that little bit of damage to where then it'll go down to the poison. Shiinotic's Effect Spore will poison Golisopod, and that is massive. Because we've seen that there's a considerable lack of damage from both the Shiinotic and the Oranguru against... That has to be Assault Vest then. That is 100% Assault Vest on the Golisopod. It's taking so little damage. So the poison with the 1/8 going to be big. That's going to be Shiinotic going down to the poison as well. But then we know Oranguru doesn't take a lot of damage because a -4 Golisopod, still pretty bad. So Oranguru with the Protect. Oh, the Poison Stall, just to make sure. Gotta respect it. That's going to be Golisopod with the Leech Life. And at the -4, it's just not going to be healing as much as it's taking from the poison, I feel. So Golisopod with the Leech Life, there we go. And the amount of damage is actually still pretty okay. Like 2-hit KO ranges. Getting a little bit of healing. Oranguru with the Psychic, though. Psychic hits. The poison will make it to where Golisopod still has a very tiny amount of health left. And that's going to be Oranguru with the Protect, and the game ends. I mean, is that when you go for it? Is that when you just instruct him again? Like, you give him his own Leech Life, you know, you instruct him, take 2 Leech Lives, and then, like, your Wiki Berry procs anyways, and then you just finish him off on, like, Protects and Psychic. That would be true trolling, but overall, fun battles. That last one went on a little longer than I expected. So the team is pretty interesting. Like, it gains a lot of power, but from what I'm seeing, it kind of falls apart a little quickly sometimes. And I don't know why. It's just like, oh, a little bit of unexpected power and craziness coming through, and then things kind of go bad. But yeah, just Bug versus Malamar, kind of unfortunate, and then the rest was looking snowbally, and then the Golisopod was just really tanking with his Assault Vest. So there we go, guys. Hope you all enjoyed the battles, and I'll see you guys in the next Fan Fridays coming up in a bit.